Hi there, welcome to the Increasing Engagement Plan lecture. This particular lecture is going to be tied to a major assignment for the course and certainly within this week. Jumping right in, there are 6 sections of this engagement idea that you have to come up with, and you can use an organization that you work with, or you certainly can use an organization that you're not working with. Obviously, if you're a social media manager, you might want to try implementing an idea where you work. So 6 areas that we're going to talk about and 6 areas that I expect in that idea. First one, real quick overview, program objectives and the purpose. And then I need a description of what that idea is going to be to engage your audience, what social media channel you're going to use, a target market, call to action, and then how are you going to measure the success of that particular idea. So I'm going to give you an overview of these 6 sections in this lecture. The next lecture up will actually show you how I implemented this social media engagement plan idea here at Winona State University, which is, as you know, my full-time job. So let's take a look at the purpose and the objectives. And this is twofold. You might think about this as a hierarchy in which the purpose might be a little bit more general. You know, are you going to inform? Are you going to entertain? Are you going to educate? So what is the purpose of your idea? And then going down and drilling down into the objectives. These might be smaller and they obviously are going to support your purpose. So the purpose really tries to gauge the reasoning behind what you're doing, and the objectives becomes smaller goals, if you will, that support that larger purpose. You want to make sure that you don't have too many objectives going on, because that becomes, difficult to manage, and it also becomes difficult to achieve those objectives. It's sort of like watching a TV commercial and someone says, well, this TV commercial will do this, that, and everything in between. And then again, at the end of the day, that TV commercial does none of that. So don't have too many objectives when it comes to your idea. Make sure they're really strong and measurable. Underneath those objectives are the tasks that you need to do to complete the objective. This could be anything from forming the teams to implement the idea, hiring designers. Do you need to create a video? Do you need to pick out music? Even maybe one of the tasks is you actually have to start a Twitter account. So again, the purpose is a little more general. It's this hierarchy. Underneath are the objectives. These are a little bit more like goals that you want to accomplish to support your purpose. And the tasks are all the things that you need to do to make this happen. Again, keeping in mind the objectives, you shouldn't really have more than maybe 2 for your engagement idea. Anything more than that, things tend to not get accomplished. So for your objective idea, I do want a short description of this. Is this going to be a contest that you're going to do? Are you going to offer your followers on Twitter, a special coupon? Are you going to offer your Facebook fans a special coupon if they share a link? Will they be entered in a drawing? Are you looking for your audience to generate content, and then maybe that content is judged by the rest of the fans? Maybe this is a YouTube video and Facebook, and you're combining those 2 channels. So I want 2, maybe 4 paragraphs that it will explain your idea so I understand what you're going to do. Obviously, as you move through this project, there's going to be more and more details, but basically in your social media idea, I'm looking for a description. What is it going to be? A contest, a coupon, audience-generated content that goes for a vote. Maybe it's having them pick your next TV commercial. So again, what is the idea that you're going to come up with to engage your audience? Up next, you're going to pick a social media channel. There are so many options obviously out there, and you want to make sure that you're picking the right channel for you. In the follow-up lecture of this, you'll see sort of the struggle that we had here at Winona State trying to determine which social media channel we wanted to use for our audience engagement idea. It's important to know your audience. It's important to hit them where they're at. So if your idea and your company works well with Facebook, that might be the channel for you. In this description, I want to know what channel you're picking, picking, why you're picking it, how does it relate to your target market. Careful about how many channels you pick. The more channels you pick to implement this engagement idea, the more channels you're going to have to manage. Sometimes you can get some crossover, obviously, with Instagram. I can also push that to Twitter and Facebook and vice versa. So watch how many channels you're picking to actually implement this idea. The more channels you have, the more you have to manage, the more the consistent look has to be, the more consistent the message has to be across platforms. So again, when you're determining what channel, think about things like, where is your audience? What channel would support it? If you are having a video contest, obviously YouTube might be one, and Facebook might be the other. Think about, is Instagram the right channel? Well, if it's a visual contest and you want them to take pictures, Instagram's good. Twitter, yes, you can do tweet pics, but again, sometimes there's some difficulty with that. So make sure you're picking the right channel. Thinking about like a younger audience. So if your audience is younger, you might go with Instagram or Snapchat. If you're doing something with like a bride and it is a contest in which the bride can win a photo session, you're obviously maybe going to look at Pinterest and even Instagram with that as well. So think about what channel you're going to use to support your idea. Up next, it's going to be your target market. This is your psychographics and demographics. Again, this is your Pinterest persona that you already created. So hopefully you have all those details available. And in the paper, you can certainly put just a graph together or a character, however you want to describe your target market. Next up is your call to action, and this has to be very clear and concise. What do you want your audience to do? Do you want them to make a purchase, make a donation, call for an appointment, call for an estimate? Do you want them to do something as simple as share or like your video or your picture, or share your blog link, register for a contest? So it's a clear statement that really tells your audience what you want them to do. Things to think about in your call to action. Your call to action should be aligned with your objectives of your idea. There should be a close and direct connection between your objectives and your call to action. It should be obvious, and then eventually when you move this this engagement idea out into social media, it should be really prominent. So things and questions maybe to ask yourself is the call to action clear and concise for this engagement idea? Is it appropriate for the audience, or even is it appropriate for the channel that I want to use? Does my objective and my call to action, is there a direct link between the two of them? Once you start building that, again, is your call to action prominent either on the traditional media that you might use to support this? This could be in lines of newspaper ads or TV commercials. Certainly, is it prominent in the social media that you use, whether it be the specific channel or other channels that your company use? So again, think about clear direction between your objective and your call to action. Make sure that it's clear, concise, obvious, and prominent. So this actually came from a recent article that I read on HuffingtonPost.com. You can probably Google this and check this out, but it walked through different types of call to action. So an engagement call to action might be as simple as asking your audience to leave a comment on a post that you did on Facebook. It could be obviously shares between Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. So again, an audience or an engagement call to action could be as simple as leaving comments and likes and shares and thoughts. Or another call to action was really actually taking your audience through social media and driving them to another platform that you might manage, such as a blog and certainly your website. So taking a look at how you can bring your audience from Facebook to make an appointment by either calling a number, going to your website, checking out your blog. Obviously, sign up and lead also can be a call to action. A lot of my friends own their own social media and public relations businesses, and a lot of times they're looking for new leads and new clients, and so you can register for their newsletter that comes via email. And again, I get this through my email, and when I click on something, it brings me out to the blog. So again, they're trying to add me as a new business, and I'm just really enjoying all their content. Could you have people sign up for VIP lists? So how might you differentiate your customers as a VIP customer? Another call to action that the article talked about was sales orientated. Obviously, sign up for free training, sign up for a free consultation, sign up for a free estimate. So again, these are different types of call to actions that you might think about that could be aligned, again, with your ultimate objective of your idea, and obviously work with your idea. Up next, you're going to need to somehow be able to look at the outcomes and measure those. So this brings us back to that same hierarchy that we talked about at the beginning of the lecture, where your purpose, again, a little bit more general. Are you going to inform, entertain, educate? What is that purpose? And then underneath that are maybe more specific objectives or goals for your engagement idea. And then, again, we have to somehow find that measurement. A lot of times this is what you're defending to your leaders within your organization, is social media does pay off, and how are we going to measure that? And this would be probably a couple paragraphs on what you're going to measure. You know, it could be as simple as new likes and new shares. I'm hoping that you dig a little deeper on your social media engagement idea, and so that it is more than just new likes and new shares, because people like pages all the time. I share things all the time, but does it really generate to a new customer or new sales? So again, what are you going to measure? There are lots of tools out there that the social media channels have to help you read analytics. In week 2, you each had to do a research project on a specific channel, and hopefully you were able to find some of those tools, such as Facebook Insights. Obviously, YouTube has some fantastic analytics. Twitter has some great analytics. There's also outside tools that you can bring in to use with your social media channels, like Hootsuite, that will also allow you to measure what is going on with your social media channel. So figure out how you might measure something. You could certainly do a pre-survey of opinions on something, and then do a post-survey of opinions. So there are different ways to measure the success of your social media idea that may not necessarily be completely related to the analytic tools within social media that are built in there, or some of the external software that you can bring in. So I'm just going to flip back here to that first slide and look at those 6 areas for your engagement plan. So again, we're looking at your objective or your purpose of the engagement idea, a description of what it is. Is it a contest? Is it user-generated material? Is it voting on a video? So how are you going to engage them? What is the idea? Social media channel, which one are you going to use and why? Who is your target market? What is your call to action? Making sure that, again, is aligned with your objective and your purpose. And then obviously outcomes and measurement. How are you going to make that all happen? So head on back to the class. There's one more recorded lecture in which I actually introduce you to what we like to call here at Winona State eWazoo, and it was our social media engagement idea that was tied to Twitter and Instagram and our tablet program here at Winona State. So head on back, watch that lecture before you start developing your own plan. Thank you.